There are two raptures in the Bible, actually three, but I'll give you two. Revelation chapter 7, verses 9 through 14, and Revelation chapter 14, verses 14 through 16. Let me show you. One of them is the Gentiles, and one is the Jews. Both raptures happen at the same time, at the end of the 7 years, at the same time. All right, so Revelation 7, Revelation 7, and verses 9 through 14. It says in verse 9 of Revelation 7, after this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues, stood before the throne, whereas the throne is in heaven, and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands. Go down to verses 13 and 14. And one of the elders of Revelation chapter 7. And one of the elders answered, saying unto me, unto John, what are these which are arrayed in white robes, and whence came they? Who are these people in white robes, and where did they come from? Verse 14, he says, and I said unto him, Sir, thou knowest. And he said unto me, these are they which came out of great tribulation, and have washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. That's one. That's the one of the Gentiles, all Gentiles, right? I'll show you the one where the Jews are raptured. Revelation 14, verses 14 through 16. It says in verse 14 of Revelation chapter 14, and I looked, and behold, a white cloud, and upon the cloud one sat like unto the Son of Man, having on his head a golden crown, and in his hand a sharp sickle, not a trumpet, a sickle. Now, this is Jesus Christ, but if you don't believe it's Jesus Christ, doesn't matter. I want you to understand that a gathering out of the earth is happening and who it is. Verse 15, and another angel came out of the temple, crying with a loud voice, to him that sat on the cloud, thrust in thy sickle and reap, for the time is come for thee to reap, for the harvest of the earth is ripe. And he that sat on the cloud thrust in his sickle, not a sounding of a trumpet, and the earth was reaped. Right? Now, let me show you, this was the Jewish multitude. Right? Go down to chapter 15 and verse 1. You go down to verse 2 of Revelation chapter 15. It says, and I saw as it were a sea of glass mingled with fire. Revelation chapter 4 and verse 6 places this sea of glass before the throne in heaven. Revelation 4:6. So now you see the sea of glass, right, mingled with fire. And them that had gotten the victory over the beast and over the image and over his mark and over the number of his name stand on the sea of glass. Where's the sea of glass? In heaven. Having the hearts of God. Now, listen to what the people that are on the sea of glass are saying, and I'm going to refer you back to Revelation chapter 7, and I skipped over some verses intentionally so I can make a comparative analysis between the people here in chapter 15, verses 1 through 4, right, and the multitude of Revelation chapter 7 and verse 9. So in Revelation 15 and 3, it says, they sing the song of Moses. Moses. That's the Jews. They sing the song of Moses, servant of God, and the song of the Lamb, saying, great and marvelous are thy works, Lord God Almighty. Just and true are thy ways, thou King of saints. Who shall not fear thee, O Lord, and glorify thy name? For thou only art holy, for all nations shall come and worship before thee, for thy judgments are made manifest. And after that I looked, and behold, the temple and the tabernacle of testimony is in heaven was open. All right. So that, let's see. Okay. What was Mark? I don't remember his name. Okay, and that was that. Now, back to Revelation. They sing the song of Moses, the Jews. Revelation 7 and 9, I read to you, there was a great multitude which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues, still before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands. White robes and palms in their hands. And they were crying with a loud voice, saying, salvation to our God, which sits upon the throne and unto the Lamb. Right? That's a whole different thing than the other multitude. Over here, they were singing a song of Moses. And that multitude in Revelation 15 And verse 2, the latter part of verse 2, it said they'll stand on the sea of glass having the harps of God. Harps, that's a string instrument. They had harps. The multitude in Revelation chapter 7 and verse 9, they stood before the throne and before the Lamb clothed with white robes and palms upon branches, right? Palms in their hands, not harps. My multitude had harps. Ding, 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 singing the song of Moses. Another one had palms. Two different multitudes, both of them taken out of the earth at the end of the 7 years. One, the Jewish multitude, one is the Gentile multitude. And people say the 7 years is just for the Jews. Well, Revelation chapters 12 through 15 deal specifically with the Jews. Revelation chapter 11, Revelation chapter 1 through chapter 11 deals with all of us on the earth, right? Because in the first 11 chapters, you're not told about the beast, the false prophet, the mark of the beast. You're not talking about any of that. So when you get to Revelation chapter 12, by the time you get to Revelation chapter 11 and verse 15, though, the 7-year period is over. The wrath of God is over. Jesus is on his way to earth to begin his millennial reign. What happens in chapter 12, if it backs you back up to a time prior to the midpoint of the 7 years, there's a war in heaven. Michael and his angels fight. Satan and his angels fight, right? Satan is kicked out of heaven. He comes down to the earth. Then, when he's kicked out, at that time, he comes down to the earth. And we might even see cataclysmic events going on in the heavenlies through telescopes when this major war takes place just prior to the midpoint invasion of Israel after the 7-year peace treaty is signed. The scientists may say, wow, we're seeing these lightning flashes and these weird things out in the universe, and what's going on? We might see it. I don't know if we will or not. But that war will take place shortly before Satan is kicked out of heaven. He comes down to earth. He persecutes the woman who brought forth the man-child, which was the Jews, not Mary. I know Mary had Jesus, but he chased the woman into the wilderness. Mary ain't here on the earth. Mary dead. The woman who brought forth the man-child was the Jews, right? The earth opened up and helped the woman and swallowed up the waters of the armies that the Antichrist has sent out of the city after the Jews try to kill them. When they're invaded at the midpoint, they're fleeing for their lives into a place in the wilderness that God has prepared for them. So then in chapter 13, the Antichrist comes to power, the false prophet comes to power, the mark of the beast is established, the 144,000 are sealed, they're whisked away onto Mount Zion, right? The warning goes out about taking the mark of the beast and all these things. And then they go through this 3.5 year period. And then that multitude in Revelation 15 is taken out of the earth at the end of 7 years. The Jews, and even in Revelation 7, 13 through 14, it said these are they who come out of the great tribulation. And so that means they were here during the reign of the Antichrist, right? And then they were taken out at the end. Now, I have videos on YouTube under my name, William Verdell. So you can go and watch other videos that I have. One in particular, a series I want you to watch is mine on the book of Revelation. The title of the series is PT1, the pre-rapture, the third coming of Jesus. P, the letter T, the number 1, not O-N-E, the number 1, PT1, the pre-rapture, and third coming of Jesus. Then it's PT2, PT3, PT4, PT5, the pre-rapture, and third coming of Jesus. I cover all the views, pre-trib, mid-trib, post-trib, pre-wrath. I cover all the scriptures that all the views use. And I show you the huge mistake that the pre-trib rapture view is making. How they read the scriptures and then they tell you that they say something else other than what they just read to you. And if you're not careful and read what they're reading, and some of them don't even read it. They'll get to it. They'll be talking, time for the video to go off. And they go, okay, that concludes that chapter. We'll be moving on to the next chapter next time we do this. And you don't even know. They just skipped over verses that would have changed everything that they thought and you thought about a pre-trib rapture. All right, got to go. It's starting to thunder here in Alabama, down here in Ozark, crazy Alabama. This is Brother Bill. God bless you. Go watch those videos. Go watch the videos on the book of Revelation. All right, and then share it. Tell other people what they are not telling you about the book of Revelation. God bless you. and bye-bye. Share the videos.